What's up, cuckolds? It's the hater back again with your weekly Monday night review and rant. Before I start, I'd like to thank all my new subscribers. I was on my channel today just before I was gonna start recording this video just to set everything up a little bit. I noticed all these new subscribers and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell, is this some sort of joke? And I went through the comments, I responded to a few. I'm gonna respond to everyone, I'm sure, because I like to talk to people. But special shout out to Jayrants, the wrestling guru up in this bitch. You know, I've listened to a few of his videos in the past. This guy's great, and I think he's responsible for all my new subscribers. So shout out to him. He's a good cat. You know, when I saw that he had commented on one of my videos, I was like, interesting. This is a name I recognize. You know, what do I do with this? Do I go and try to bury him or something? Do I go and make fun of him? Nah, you know, he's a cool guy. He's someone that I actually tend to agree with. So, you know, I'm going to keep it real like I always do. Now, if this was like the wrestling otaku or something, it wouldn't be the same thing, motherfuckers. But shout out to him. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the new ones, all the old ones. We're growing, motherfuckers. I will never stop like I'm running from the cops, like Lil Wayne once said. But now that we got that out of the way, that sappy shit out of the way, let's get to the show. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what my thoughts about this show are. But as I go around the matches and I go over them and I talk about them, I'm sure by the end of this video I'll formulate something and definitely formulate some sort of a rating for this show. You know, we're going with the 10-star system here, so I don't know. But the show started out. Becky Lynch came out and cut a shit promo. You know, she cut the John Cena promo. If you want some, come get some, basically. You know, except she's Becky Lynch. She's not John Cena. And remember when people hated Cena for that? They hated Triple H when he would come out every week for like 4 years saying like, I'm the game and the game is like the best, you know? It's the same shit. You just take the word the game and replace it with the man. And then that's Becky Lynch, right? Nothing really special. Nothing we haven't seen before, right? And also, let's just talk about this. I know a lot of people have talked about this, and obviously a lot of people have noticed it. But let's talk about the fact that this is a woman whose nickname is the man, right? Her entire shtick is that she is masculine, right? And that's something that it's good. It's good for her. She's smart for doing this because the facts are that as the WWE product has moved towards like, you know, women are the same as men, just like all entertainment has pretty much moved towards women are just men, right? She has embraced this, right? And this is what has put her over, you know? Aside from the fact that, like, she got her face broken by the face breaker, Nia Jax, who we haven't seen in about 19 months or so. You understand what I'm saying? So, good for her on that. Now, the bad part of that is that in order to get over, she has to be a man, right? So, as opposed to having women organically get over, right? So, if you look at any kind of movement in the history of movements, right? Very few times has a group said, you know what? We are you, right? No, they've said, hey, man, we're us. But can you please treat us like human beings? You know, no, I'm not going to sit here and say that the women's revolution is nowhere near any kind of civil rights movement or any kind of movement like that. Obviously, it's not. It's completely useless and no one cares, right? But also, a big difference is that the women, specifically Becky Lynch, who is the face of the women's revolution now, right? And the face of WWE 2K20, which apparently sucked ass. First game I haven't bought since the first SmackDown. So anyways, yeah, like she just goes around saying she's the man, right? And to an average viewer, people are going to be like, well, wait a second. You know, you're supposed to represent the women, but you're the man, right? You know, and I know it's like tongue in cheek. I'm not saying it's super serious, right? But then, you know, you have like Seth Rollins coming out with a shirt. I'm the man's man, right? Get the fuck out of here. You're, like he was the champion when he did that. You know, like if it was like Beth Phoenix and she was the champion and she was with Santino or something when he was like a cuck and like a loser and like a jobber and he had a shirt saying I'm the man's man, that'd be kind of clever to be like, oh, Santino sucks so much that his only identity can be through his girlfriend Beth Phoenix, right? But in this case, this is foolish because this is the guy that beat Brock Lesnar, right? It would be inappropriate for, like, say for example, Deborah became WWE champion in like the year 2001 during like the feud with the Alliance, right? And Stone Cold came out next week saying, I'm like the husband of the champion or some bullshit like that, right? The only way he would say that would be like ironically, right? And we've been over why irony doesn't always work, motherfuckers. So yeah, I don't like that at all. But I feel like I've spent too much time talking about Becky Lynch. So let's move on. Her promo was complete shit. This has completely run its course. But despite that, we have a match. Becky and Charlotte versus the Kabuki Warriors. Now, the Kabuki Warriors lost to Charlotte and Natty, so I automatically assumed that this was going to be a match that Becky Lynch wins just to give her one of the belts. So when Survivor Series comes along, it gives it a little bit more gravitas. Maybe it allows for a screwy finish or something along those lines. During the match, Shayna Baszler comes out and, like they cut the commercial. Shayna Baszler's here, motherfuckers. Ooh, let's all be afraid. Right? Then Bayley comes out and Shayna Baszler destroys Bayley. This distracts Sasha, and then she gets pinned by Asuka with a roll-up. For a second there, I thought Asuka was Riho from AEW because she won with a roll-up and is a goofy Japanese wrestler with really no character, right? But actually, you know what? I take that back a little bit because Asuka, I'm digging this version of Asuka. Also, Asuka beat Becky Lynch at Royal Rumble when Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble, right? So Asuka keeps beating her ass. For some reason, Becky gets all like the matches. She gets inserted into the Royal Rumble and all that stupid crap. But it's been a while since that happened, so we got to move on. Then Bayley, after the match, Bayley attacks Becky. So, which makes no sense because Bayley should go after Shayna Baszler, who attacked her. Why would she attack Becky? It doesn't make any sense. I really hope SmackDown comes out on top at Survivor Series somehow. I don't know what's going to happen because last year I think Raw won like every match basically. So, not basically. I think they won every match and Charlotte got DQ'd against Ronda. So whatever. Next we have a backstage backstage segment, motherfuckers. The OC shows up. And AJ Styles starts bullying Humberto Carrillo with good reason. Humberto Carrillo is a jobber and no one cares about him, right? This actually was pretty entertaining. Like the OC is entertaining now, like as like almost like three like old frat boys that are just like these just jerk offs that just bully like these young people, right? Ricochet tries to stand up with him. Randy Orton's in the room. They set up a 6-man match: the OC versus Orton, Ricochet, and Humberto. So. That segment was all right. It's showing a bit of Randy Orton. Randy Orton's whole thing now is like I do what I want when I want. They showed Randy Orton's arm as he was standing. His arm is like gigantic. I don't know, like it's never been bigger, I think, in my opinion. So this just makes him look superior to everyone there. They shouldn't even be like in the same weight class, and they wouldn't be in real life. So it is what it is. Then we have Drew McIntyre beating Sin Cara with the Claymore, which continues Drew's irrelevant non-push. Right, this guy. Either they were going to bring him in from NXT and he was going to be a champion of some sort, or he was going to do what he's doing now. And that's flounder in the mid-card, lose every meaningful match, and then once in a while beat Sin Cara or like a Sin Cara level wrestler. And I will say this about Sin Cara. Sin Cara deserves a bit more. The guy that plays Sin Cara, formerly known as Unico, this guy has been putting in work. He seems like a good dude. He's a tough guy in real life, apparently, right? And he has inherited a failed gimmick, so he's never gotten an opportunity to like do something, and I feel like he deserves one because in a scenario where Cedric Alexander, Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza in NXT, all these like mid-level jobbers are having actual opportunities, Sin Cara Unico version never had that. So that kind of sucks. And I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that he's awesome or anything like that, but like just to be a jobber again, I don't know how I feel about it. Then we had an actual 24/7 title match, which I don't even think they did these. R-Truth versus the Singh brothers. Like one of the Singh brothers is the champion. I don't know which one, so it gives a rat's ass. Eventually, the match was meaningless because they ran away, right? And they ended up facing Rowan. And by facing, I don't mean in a match. They like ran into Rowan literally in like a room while they were hiding. Rowan destroys them both, beats them with a couch. R-Truth comes in, has a little funny moment, turns off the lights, and then I can only assume Rowan then proceeded to rape both the Singh brothers because I don't understand what the point of this was. Earlier, they showed Rowan talking to something in like a cage, right? And for some reason, this was filmed from the perspective of the thing in the cage, which is probably going to be a rat, right? It's the dumbest thing ever, like why would we see this from the rat's perspective? Why is there a camera, like, I won't even say behind the rat. It's like between the rat and the cage to capture it, right? Obviously the cage was empty, but you understand what I'm saying. I don't like this at all, but I'll talk about this more when we get to the Rowan match because he had a match, motherfuckers. Next, we had Seth Rollins coming out. He's back to being a mid-carder where he belongs, in my opinion. This guy has mid-carder written all over him. He's good in the ring, but you know what? So is fucking D'Lo Brown, and nobody wanted D'Lo Brown to be champion. So there you go. Rollins comes out. He cuts a promo that's very Rollins-centric. he says Triple H showed his true colors, and I'm like, every time Triple H comes to the ring, he shows his true colors. So this is not anything interesting. They're in the UK, so he calls out UK's best motherfuckers, and Imperium comes out, and Walter comes out, and Rollins is not over at all. Now, in my opinion, this was a smart decision to have this match because Rollins was going to get booed. People are turning on him. So if you have a match against Walter, the boos become justified because they're in the UK. He's the UK champion. He's representing the UK. So the UK fans are going to be like, yo, we're going to ride for our champion here, not Rollins, who lost to a guy in a mask, So they had the match. Obviously, no one's going to win or lose this match. There was no way that I think Walter's undefeated. It wouldn't have made sense for Walter to lose because what would be the point of that? You can't bury the entire UK, the NXT UK division, right? Rollins can kind of even afford to take a loss, but there was no need for it. So this ended the only way it could have possibly ended, and that is with Imperium coming in, attacking Rollins. Then, as they're beating that ass, music hits. I bring the swag like nobody can, and nobody, yeah. So, you guessed it, motherfuckers. Everyone's favorite wrestlers, Enzo and Kaz, come out and make the save. Right after that, Kevin Owens comes out and makes the save after Enzo and Cass, also known as the Street Profits, D'Angelo Dawkins, or is it Angelo? Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, also known as Big Cass and Enzo Amore, are not good enough basically to save Seth Rollins. Pardon me, motherfuckers. Kevin Owens comes out and starts whooping that ass. They go to commercial. This becomes an 8-man match. Now, obviously, in this match, one of the other 3 guys in Imperium was going to take the fall. Obviously, the Raw team isn't going to lose because I don't think Imperium is going to be featured very prominently at Survivor Series. If anything, Walter might have a spot on the NXT team just to make it interesting, I guess. But beyond that, what's the point, right? Whereas Rollins and Street Profits are getting a push. Kevin Owens is Kevin Owens. These people aren't going to lose to Imperium, which are a bunch of jobbers. I mean, I like Imperium, but they're a bunch of jobbers. By the way, also Imperium came out looking like complete Nazis, which is kind of cool, but it's only a matter of time before the SJWs turn on them. So anyways, the match happens. Kevin Owens gets a hot tag, runs through everybody. Montez Ford does a pretty cool, tope con hilo on Walter after Rollins does a suicide dive, which was not enough to knock down Walter. The tope that Montez Ford does looked insane. He landed half on the table, on the announce table, so that was pretty cool. They got in the ring. Alexander Wolf, there was an exchange of moves. Alexander Wolf was going to go after what's his face, Kevin Owens. Rollins does a schoolboy roll up, and from that just hits the stomp. Now it took a few seconds, and it was kind of goofy because Alexander Wolf had to basically sell a schoolboy roll up as if it confused him or something, but it worked for what it was. They held hands with each other after the match. No one gave a rat's ass. Next, speaking of no one giving a rat's ass, Mr. No One Gives a Rat's Ass, Cedric Alexander, who is now a jobber, a complete jobber, came out, had a match with Andrade. This meant nothing. Andrade won after hitting his DDT, La Sombra. After Zelina Vega grabbed Cedric Alexander's foot. Now, this has run its course. Either Andrade needs to do something, why not give him a U.S. title run? After AJ Styles loses, give him a U.S. title run. Or better yet, if you're not going to do anything with him, keep him on SmackDown and have him be IC champ, Nakamura doesn't benefit from that. Although I am looking forward to the Nakamura AJ Styles Roderick Strong match because Roderick Strong and AJ Styles are great workers. Nakamura has 2 or 3 moves, but I think he'll make it work. It'll be a good match. So I'm looking forward to that. After this, Aleister Black cuts a promo. It's annoying as shit. Aleister Black, I mean, I see it. I see why people like him, but I don't. He's trying too hard. That's pretty much it, right? He comes out and he's talking to some anonymous person. He says, I tried to call you out and I talked in riddles. And I'm like, dude, you're doing that right now. You're talking in riddles right now. I have no idea who the fuck you're talking about, right? It sounds like he's talking about The Undertaker, except obviously Undertaker's not going to wrestle this jobber, right? Then he says now I'll speak in prophecies. This is fucking stupid, man. Why the fuck would anyone want to hear this nonsense? If I was the guy that he was calling out and somehow I knew that he was talking about me, I'd be like, shut up, you fucking loser. I don't need to hear this prophecies nonsense. And then I'd go out there and whoop his ass. That's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? So no one cared at all about this. I'm sure. I like every week I forget that Aleister Black is in the company because he appears like once every like shitty pay-per-view, and he's always like, "Oh, I want to fight." Like in NXT, he was wrestling like all the time, and now he's like hot. He thinks he's hot shit. I don't buy it. But you know, it is what it is, right? So after that, they had a package about Veterans Day. That was awesome. Shout out to the vets, motherfuckers. They do a hard job. They do a good job. They're awesome. You know, they deserve a bit of recognition. One of the vets they profiled was, of course, Lashley, because he's a vet. But it doesn't work because Lashley's a heel, and Lashley was part of the next segment, which was atrocious. Lana comes out and says she had sex with Lashley 7 weeks ago. Now, I'll give a brief synopsis of what happened here. Lana came out and said she had sex with Lashley 7 weeks ago, and today is their sex anniversary, right? Whatever, it is what it is. Then she talks for about what appeared to be a fucking eternity about like two things, basically. She had sex with Lashley 7 weeks ago, and she got pregnant 9 weeks ago, which means, of course, Rusev is the father. This is all like fluffed with a bunch of nonsense from Lana, you know? She clearly wasn't prepared for this promo. I don't know what it is. She used to be good at promos, but that was because I think back in the day, she would just say like one line, the fans would react, and then she'd be like, you know, like she would react and say the next line, and it was like a put down. Where this is like she's trying to tell a story, and it was horrible. Another thing I didn't like was during this, two things. King wouldn't shut the fuck up. Like Lana would say something, and he'd react, right? I am adamant in my belief that when something is happening, the announcers should shut the fuck up unless it's a match, right? Or unless there needs to be some sort of clarification, right? So like during entrances, I don't like how they talk during entrances, but that would be a good time to talk if you had to, right? Like when I say entrance, I mean like if it's the entrance of like Ricochet or some jobber, right? If like Hulk Hogan is making his return or something, just say, "Oh wow, it's Hulk Hogan." That's it. Shut the fuck up. Don't say anything else. Let people enjoy the moment. But King just kept talking during this whole time. Like Lana would be like, "I had sex with Rusev 7 years ago or seven weeks ago for the first time," you know. And the King would be like, "Oh," I'm just like, "All right, like that's weird. Okay, do it once, all right." And then she'd be like, "You know, like he is my great and loving boyfriend or something, right?" You know, and the King would be like, he wouldn't even say anything. He would just like moan and grumble. And just like, first of all, like why is he doing this? Why is he just ruining this already shitty moment by talking? And two, why is he like grumbling? And like at one point he said, "That's TMI," right? This is the same guy that would just anytime a woman would appear, he'd be like, "Puppies," and you like lose his mind, right? What the fuck happened to this guy? You know, I understand it's PG now, but like then you don't have to make a complete 180. Just shut the fuck up and smile or something, you know? Talk about it on Twitter. I don't know. So anyways, people boo her because the promo just went too long. It was just atrocious, right? What's his face? Rusev comes out and he's just like, he doesn't say anything. Basically, he's like, "Lana, you know, like we've heard this all before." He pretty much calls into question her telling the truth. Lashley comes out. Lana jumps on top of Rusev, like mounts him on the back. So this is enough for Lashley to come in and clothesline Rusev, hit him with like the flatliner, and then hit him with like a one-handed spine buster type move. So this served absolutely no purpose. For some reason, like all right, fine. She cheated on Rusev, and she says Rusev cheated on her, and now she's with Lashley. Why do they have to go and just attack Rusev every week? Like this, from Rusev's perspective, this should be over, right? Like Rusev came out, had his moment, you know what I mean? Like he took his ring, put it in Bobby Lashley's mouth, and then left, and that was it. You know, there was no need to go any further with that. But it is what it is, and luckily it eventually ended. Then it's Eric Rowan versus some jobber, right? Eric Rowan comes out with the aforementioned cage with whatever the fuck is inside it, and it's covered by like burlap, right? So like, what the fuck could it be? It's obviously some sort of animal, right? Like, what else could it be? The only thing that I can think of that it could be other than an animal is like some sort of toy or like a doll or something, and he's like lost his mind, you know? But he beats this guy with the iron claw, like I said, and this was a complete waste of time. Eric Rowan, I don't even understand. Like, I don't know if they're like high on him and they want him to do something, because if they did, this is not the way to book him, right? It seemed like the Bludgeon Brothers were going to get a push, right? And that didn't work out. He came back as an environmentalist with Daniel Bryan. They decided that wasn't going to work out. Then he turned on Daniel Bryan, right? And his gimmick then became like, he's like intellectually superior. They kept talking about, "Oh, Eric Rowan's so smart. Eric Rowan's so smart," right? And then that didn't work out. That panned out to nothing. You know, they've tried that before with him, where he was like this genius, and then he was like a retard at the same time, right? So now I guess his gimmick is back to being like a creep who apparently has some form of like animal that he just keeps around. Like I don't understand where this is going, and quite frankly, I don't care, and no one should care at all. What else? Next, we had the Humberto, Ricochet, and Orton versus OC match. OC has, in my opinion, one of the best theme songs ever. It fits them. It's awesome. I don't know why they don't focus on the fact that the OC has never been in NXT. That's something that I think is important if they're going to be part of this feud, which they should be. And yeah, the match started. One of the announcers said that, I think it was King. I could be wrong. He said Orton reminds him of Spider-Man. Like, enough said. I don't know why. He doesn't do anything that Spider-Man does. It is what it is. Carrillo does his typical arm drag, like where he jumps on the ropes like 17 times. And I don't know why he doesn't just jump once. Like, what does doing it 17 times get you? Absolutely nothing. You know, it's fucking stupid, right? Just like be efficient with it. Have some logic. I get it. You can jump on the ropes, but so can fucking Grand Metalik. You know, like you're not bringing anything new to the table, motherfucker. Like when I first saw Jeff Hardy, right, which was like one of my first experiences with high flying wrestling back in the day. He did a swanton bomb, and I'm like, oh my god, like no one should be able to get out of this, right? And I was like, that's kind of cool. And it was just a simple front flip. I mean, he made it look good, but it was a simple front flip. And I remember that the first time I saw Rey Mysterio, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's like flying around the ring like a little monkey, you know? That's fucking awesome. That's great. And now every time I see someone, no one's doing anything that impressive. Like, I mean, you have like Neville and Ricochet, you know, they do the moves and they do them well, but nothing really like that great. Everything's been done like in terms of high flying moves. Like even the 630 Ricochet does is like, it's cool, but you don't need to spin 30 times, you know, it makes no sense. So anyways, that match kept going. Again, Humberto Carrillo, I mean, I get it. They're hot on this guy. I mean, I think it's going to amount to absolutely nothing. He came out of nowhere, like kind of like Tegan Nox came out of nowhere in NXT, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to know who Tegan Nox is. Like, I give a fuck about her. Anyways, the match ends when Randy Orton teases RKOing Ricochet, who I believe he RKO'd last week. I could be wrong. Right, but then he hits the 3 most dangerous letters in sports entertainment there on AJ, right? By the way, that's one of the dumbest catchphrases ever, you know, the 3 most destructive or whatever dangerous letters in sports entertainment. Yeah, fucker, because nobody has moves that are three letters, right? They're the 3 most dangerous letters by default. You know, no one else has anything associated to them that's 3 letters except for like Triple H and HBK, and they're both better than Randy Orton. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would be like Stone Cold, you know, coming out, putting a hyphen in his name and being like, I'm the most dangerous hyphenated man in all of sports entertainment. Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, what's the point of that, you know? So anyways, he hits the RKO. Humberto Carrillo hits a moonsault. He did like 17 moonsaults or moonsault attempts. This guy, all he does is moonsault and arm drags. I'm not excited about Humberto Carrillo at all. So anyways, then that happens. He pins him, and he, like, you know, he's like excited because he just pinned the U.S. champion. I think that was kind of one of the sub points. And then Randy Orton looks at Ricochet and kind of like butts towards him, and Ricochet like flinches. And then, you know, Randy Orton's like, when I won, motherfucker. And I'm just like, all right, great. And I didn't even realize this was the last match because I actually watched this match first because something apparently happened on my DVR, and it recorded 2 versions of Raw. And like, I started the first one because I figured one was recorded in HD and one was recorded in SD. So I started the HD one, and I'm like, oh, okay, the match I guess just starts, because I pressed like fast forward a little bit in the beginning. I'm like, oh, I guess the match just starts. This is the first match, you know? And then when it ended, the show ended, and I'm like, and then like, you know, the next show started like playing whatever, like Temptation Island or whatever, some one of those fruity little shows that they have. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Then it turns out that the first recording had the rest of the show. So this match to me did not feel like a show closer for more reason than one. You know, I guess they also announced who Seth Rollins' like partners are going to be at what's it called, Survivor Series, and it's going to be, I believe, Seth Rollins. Who else? Drew McIntyre, I think, is one of them. I think Ricochet is one of them, and Randy Orton probably is one of them, and I think Kevin Owens. Yeah, I think that's right. That's all that's been announced, and this seems like a decent little Survivor Series match. It's full of like complete and absolute mid-carders. So if I had to predict Team SmackDown, you know Shorty G's going to be involved in there somewhere, that motherfucker, right? And who's going to anchor it? Maybe like Roman Reigns. I don't think he's doing anything, so maybe him. That'd be kind of nice, I guess. In NXT, Adam Cole, he's not part of any match at this point. They didn't do like a triple threat for the, with all the world champions, which I guess makes sense because like I'd rather see a title defended. The Fiend doesn't seem to appear at all. Like, who gives a shit? Now Brock Lesnar's appearing more than the Fiend. It is what it is. The show overall, like I will say, like now that I talked about it, I will say that I was entertained by it. Like I by no means was it a good show. I'll give it a solid 6 out of 10, motherfuckers. 6 stars out of 10, motherfuckers. Like I would say that the AEW Full Gear was better than Raw, but it should be infinitely better than Raw because it's a pay-per-view and it's a $60 pay-per-view. I can get WWE Network for like 6 months for that shit. Luckily, one of my friends had recorded it, and I, when I came home late, he came over actually, and he recorded it on fucking VHS, motherfuckers. He even bought a VHS player. So that was kind of neat. But that was probably more neat because I got to see something in VHS for like first time in, I don't know, 15, 16 years. So anyways, motherfuckers, that's the review. What else is there to look forward to this week? Continued growth of my channel, of course, fuckers. Tomorrow there's no wrestling, so I'm not going to do... I'll probably still do a video. I have a lot of work tomorrow, so I probably won't be able to go out and do anything fun. So I'll probably just do a video. Wednesday, I'll try to watch both. One of my friends invited me to this spot where, like, there's, like, one guy who watches both shows at the same time. So if I get done and I'm not tired, I'll go do that and watch both of them on Wednesday. But we'll see. And but the thing that I'm looking forward to most is honestly AEW, just because I want to see what they're going to do after the pay-per-view. And, of course, Survivor Series. So with that being said, thanks again for tuning in. Fuckers! This channel is like bird flu. Remember bird flu a few years ago? People were like, oh, where did this come from? It came out of nowhere, motherfuckers, and it's staying here for a while. And then, but unlike bird flu that, eventually like went away, and then we had swine flu and everything else. I'm all of that. I'm every epidemic combined, swine flu, bird flu, SARS. Remember SARS, motherfuckers? What was the most recent one? Ebola. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going nowhere, fuckers. But thanks again, and go and fuck your own asses.